When you're short on time, which let's be honest, we all are, you often have to find a way to get into the creative zone fast. If you only have 30 minutes, you don't want to spend 20 of those minutes trying to feel inspired. One of my go-to strategies for this is not just to find the most inspiring space to write in, but to create it where you find it. So today, I'm going to share some ideas for creating your very own writer's room. Let's go. I rewrote my first novel, when you read this, about 13 times over 6 years. And the final time I rewrote it, and it was the final time because I finally learned to stop writing according to all the rules and instead just put my heart into it, I was staying in a cabin in upstate New York where it rained hail the size of baseballs, and at night I watched shooting stars. It was surreal and magical, and the weather made it feel magical. But that setting wasn't something I could replicate because, well, literally my friend who had invited me up there moved away, and then I didn't have a connection to that place anymore. Then I sold my next novel based on a proposal, meaning an outline and a couple of sample chapters. After you publish your first book, you can often do this, sell your next one based on a proposal. It's pretty great. But this time, I had a newborn baby at home, and I could only write for a couple of hours a day when there was somebody to watch him. I couldn't write at my house because the baby was there. So I had to leave home and just make the best. I went to cafes, bars, restaurants, park benches. I wrote my entire novel this way in public spaces like these in sessions of about 45 minutes. So how do you make that work? Tip number one is to make whatever space you land in sacred. The writers I tend to work with are like me, working their writing time around their busy lives as mothers, professors, lawyers, doctors. Because we live these lives, we write where we can. Scribble something in a notebook, on the bus, or in the car. Dictate into your phone between meetings. Do what you need to do. But I found that what helps me quickly get into the writing zone is to have a designated spot, at least for the time being, for this week or this project. Is it a particular chair in a particular meeting room at work? Is it a special stool at the coffee bar? Is it one end of your couch or the floor of your bedroom? What is working for you right now? It doesn't have to be a desk. For me, it's never been a desk. And I love my desk. I just don't like to write there. This idea of having a designated space taps into basic psychology and classical conditioning, and it's actually pretty simple. If you pick a space and the only thing you do there is write this one project, then every time you go to that space, your mind naturally starts kicking into writing mode just by being there. Okay, for this to work really well though, it means you need to treat it kind of like a sacred writing space. Like, don't host your neighbors, for afternoon coffee in this spot. Don't watch TV in this spot or nap there. Just for now, try only to write there. It's the same idea behind the advice to just sleep in your bed so that you can get to sleep more easily. Whatever space or spot you choose, train your brain to associate writing with it. Tip number two is to make it fun. I often find myself more inspired when I give myself permission to make my writing surroundings, meaning my tools, fun. Colorful pens is usually what this means to me. Not black and blue, but other colors, purple and pink and even orange. Notebooks that are overpriced and that make me happy just to look at them. What feels luxurious to you? It doesn't have to be expensive. So what if it costs $19 instead of $3? And I hereby give you permission to spend the extra few bucks. If you're working at home, maybe there's a way you can personalize your writing space. You can put decor on the walls or trinkets on your desk that inspire you. There's plenty of book and writing themed decor out there, but it can also just be things you find beautiful or that you like. Kurt Vonnegut, despite being an atheist, kept a prayer for writers tacked to the wall above his desk. It was written by Samuel Johnson on April 3rd, 1753, the day when he signed the contract that required him to write the first complete dictionary of the English language. He was praying for himself. And here's the prayer as Vonnegut shared it. O God, who hast hitherto supported me Enable me to proceed in this labor and in the whole task of my present state, that when I shall render up at the last day an account of the talent committed to me, I may receive pardon for the sake of Jesus Christ. Amen. Madeleine L'Engle, author of so many wonderful books, including A Wrinkle in Time, one of my childhood favorites, kept a laughing Buddha on her desk, apparently to remind herself not to take herself too seriously as a writer. What items or trinkets or reminders or sayings or poems give you joy? What makes it fun? Surround yourself with those things. Okay, I have 2 more strategies to share with you. But before I do, I just want to invite you to apply to my program, the Book Incubator. The link is down below this video. It's only 2 questions, takes less than 5 minutes. And if you're writing a book, you'll definitely want to check it out. Now, back to the video. Tip number 3 is just to take 20 minutes and rearrange. I recently updated my writing space. I had stacks of papers toppling over into one another, bills mixed with doctor's notes, mixed with my novel draft. Looking at it made me feel chaotic and just like meh. And that's not how you want to feel about a space where you need to be creative. So I moved things around. I tidied up. What once worked for me wasn't working anymore, and that's okay. With some really basic, simple arranging, sometimes your creative mind can feel more spacious, just open to new ideas and inspiration. So every once in a while, just ask, is this a space I like being in right now? And if the answer is no, switch it up, tidy up. It could be that simple. Or get a new lamp, a couple new plants, just change the direction of your desk. Or maybe you do need to change locations entirely. We all need change sometimes, whether it's big or small. And it's okay if the same setup that was working for you a few months ago isn't anymore. Which brings me to my final tip. Go to someplace new and quiet. Okay, so speaking of going to a new place, this tip is for folks who don't want to or can't write from home. Like me for a lot of my writing life in recent years. Not always will we have the convenience of having a separate room or space in our homes dedicated to writing. Especially now that so many of us work from home, it can be so easy for our spaces, to blend together. It becomes harder and harder to keep the parts of our lives distinct. So considering that, sometimes you want to get out of the house and just find a different place to write that isn't also where you eat and sleep and bathe and do work and parent and whatever else you are currently cramming into your house. So go out and explore. Look for a place where you can go consistently or fairly consistently, where you can focus and be inspired. Coffee shops, libraries, even museums. And keep in mind, this may take some trial and error. The museum that you have to drive 2 hours to get to, while lovely one day, is probably not going to be a place you can regularly and sustainably go to every week. The coffee shop your friend suggested may have a great vibe and play really good music, but, the noisy espresso maker might be a little bit distracting. But if you try a few places, maybe you'll end up at the library in a quiet section, not next to a giant set of windows where the light streams in. And when you land on it, you feel like, this is my place. This is where I can come. I have found my spot. So if it's not your house, leave home and explore. You may be able to find your room somewhere else. If you made it this far in the video, I'm guessing that you're writing a book or you want to write a book. And if so, I would love to hear from you. When I'm not writing, my mission in life is to help writers write their dream books. I love it. I live for it. If you're curious to know more, I have a free video walking you through my exact process for writing a book. And you can get it by just clicking below and answering 2 questions to apply to my program, the Book Incubator. You can get the video whether you join the program or not. There's no pressure to enroll. So just click below to tell me a little bit about you and your book or your book idea. I'm so excited to hear from you.